but it just didn't really have this, like, I don't know how to describe it, this oomph, this hook to it that made me want to, like, oh my god, I can't stop playing this. I can't put this down. This is so good. And honestly, it's easy for me to get that feeling. Early tonight, we played Fate Extella again. We got to the end part of story for part 1, right? And I tell you what, I couldn't stop. Like, I wanted to keep playing when we got to the end of part 1. The first branch, I should say. So that also included Tamamo. Like, I wanted to go into the next route and play as and have Tamamo as my servant, and go into that with Karna as my side servant. Like, it would have been fun. Would have been great. Obviously, we will in due course, but it was just so much fun that I really did walk away feeling like, man, that's what it's like. That's what it's like when it's a game that I don't want to put down. I don't want to stop playing. And so I'm looking forward to Scarlet and Violet potentially being along those lines. Maybe it will be, maybe it won't be, but it looks promising from what we've seen so far at the very least. Speaking of promising, I honestly forgot about this franchise. I really did, and I loved this franchise. Loved playing Dragon Age games. Dragon Age Inquisition was a ton of fun. It did have its flaws, but I really enjoyed it. We now know that Dragon Age Dreadwolf is a thing. It's coming. It'll probably be next year from what I've seen, and it probably will not be earlier next year. But Dragon Age Dreadwolf is the next Dragon Age game. I'm excited about this. So BioWare has confirmed a couple of things by naming it what they did. It looks like it's going to revolve around a former character, Solus. So if you haven't played Inquisition, Solus was honestly like a pretty interesting part of Dragon Age Inquisition. You could learn a lot about him if you cared to, or you could just kind of go through the game as it was. Dragon Age is an easy game to kind of like pick your level of detail, right? So with that, I'm really excited about Dragon Age Dreadwolf. I'm excited more to learn more about it, I will say that much. But Dragon Age games have always lit my fire. I'm always liked them. They've always been fun for me. Even the worst of them, it still had fun. I still had fun. It definitely lives up to its name. You go in there, you expect, you know, a world of dragons living in a, quote, Dragon Age, haha. And it lives up to it. So I definitely enjoy the Dragon Age series, and I look forward to Dragon Age Dreadwolf. We also had another interesting and well-known series get a game announcement. This is just it's interesting to me. It's interesting to me. So Sonic Frontiers, which is an open world Sonic game, and I never thought that would be a thing. I never thought that would be a thing. But my goodness, it looks interesting. At the very worst, it looks interesting. I thought it was interesting as well, maybe not in a good way, that when they showed the gameplay trailer, there were rendering issues. And so you could kind of see when it's not doing like the cinematic aspects, when it's just showing like the actual world. Things off in the draw distance seem to not really appear at the right times. The game trailer made a point of showing off things like shadows, reflections, other kind of like next level graphics for a Sonic game, if you will. But it kind of stuck out a little bit to me that there would be some pop-ins and pop-outs. That's always glaring. That was a big problem for Pokemon Legends Arceus, a massive problem in my opinion. And we know that the Switch can handle those kinds of games without having pop-ins and shit like that. Because honestly, Breath of the Wild did a pretty good job of it. It wasn't perfect by any means, but since it was the first, it gets a little bit more of a pass than some of these do. It doesn't look to be a huge problem with Sonic Legends, but as you could probably go find the gameplay trailer, and it would just be like the character would land, Sonic would land on the ground, there would be some kind of like stones or textures on the ground, and it wouldn't appear until you had already hit the ground or were about to. In addition to some platforming, the platform that you needed to go to, I should say, and a couple of steps, it wouldn't appear until, you know, that you were like 2 steps away from it, which is kind of like disconcerting. Kind of takes you out of it. I understand that it's a Sonic game, like there's not going to be a ton of immersion per se, but the world itself looks really good. It looks really fun. It's clear that they focused heavily on the reflection aspect, the water, the trees. They do look very good. I think there's a waterfall in the trailer as well that looks, honestly, it looks great. It looks fantastic to me. I also thought it was funny that parts of the map on the Sonic trailer looked like a Fortnite map. But that's easily remedied when you see the mobility that Sonic has in the trailer. Not just kind of running around on his own, but running around on rails. One thing that I kind of, I don't know, worried about, but perhaps just wondered about when I watched the trailer, it didn't look like this was going to be the kind of game that would have a ton of replay value, which maybe people don't care about. A lot of times I don't care about it when it comes to a specific game. I'll bring up Scarlet and Violet. I don't care if it has a good replay value. I'm looking forward to playing it anyway. I've been playing Pokemon my entire life. Not to mention Final Fantasy 16. Players who have been playing Final Fantasy a long time are going to play Final Fantasy 16 regardless of its quote replay value. But this is not really the case with a Sonic Frontier, simply because it doesn't have a history of this kind of game. It doesn't have a history of being an open world, large-scale puzzles, and definitely like a more challenging aspect when it comes to mobility and free-flow movement, right? Because you're navigating an entire massive landscape. So, we'll see. I'm hopeful about it, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm not trying to be like a Debbie Downer about Sonic Frontiers. It does look promising, but if I had to guess, I would say that this is going to be their first attempt and that there will be a better future attempt much farther down the line. That being said, it of course is dependent on not only critical reception, but mostly reception in players' wallets. If people buy it and play it in mass, then yeah, it's not going to matter if it's good or not. They'll make another one. But from what I saw, I don't know. It just kind of seems a little bit off. It seems a little bit off. And I know that players are excited. I was very interested. I am very interested, I should say. But the speed at which Sonic moves across the map, plus the draw distancing with the pop-ins, I do feel like that's going to be a little bit of a glaring thing. Not to mention the fact that if it's just Sonic kind of racing around an open world, I don't know how much of a hook that's going to be for players. I don't know how much that's going to be engaging for them in the long term. For me personally, like, it could be fun for a while. It really could. But I'm going to get to a point where I'm going to start fast traveling. I'm going to start trying to, like, move to the objectives and just, like, get shit done. And if the main draw of this game is, it's Sonic, but he's in an open world, that's not going to be enough. For players like me, at least, it's not going to be enough. It's cool that Sonic is in an open world, but that can't be the game. It has to have more to it. Maybe it will. I'm certainly not casting doubt on that. I just think that when it comes to a game like this that doesn't have a past precedent of success or even presence in an open world fashion, I do think that the microscope is going to be a little bit more harsh. People are going to treat it with just a little bit more scrutiny, perhaps, than other more established ones. If they come out with a Fallout game next week that is a open world Fallout and it's you know, just okay, fans are gonna say, oh, okay, well, it's another just okay Fallout game, you know, whatever, and they'll play it or they won't. But with this, it definitely doesn't have like the benefit of let's say like a reputation. Well, we'll see. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it'll be like groundbreaking and incredible. It's certainly ambitious. It certainly is ambitious. But I don't know how much that's going to lead to success.